Flag football fans, thanks for watching our 4A preseason edition of your Biokats weekly flag football podcast. I'm your host, Darren Pitzner, Coach Pitz. Check out our 5A season preview as well. So, what better time than on opening weekend to shine a light on this awesome sport? The preseason coaches polls were released this week, and teams are playing games as early as this Saturday, August 16th. So, lots of games to check out starting this weekend. Let's talk 4A preseason rankings. In our 5A preview, I talked about how many high-level quarterbacks are coming back. 4A has a lot more new faces we're excited to learn about and see on the field. With so many new players trying the sport every year, our rosters are going to have a ton of turnover on most of these teams. So we're going to focus on the quarterback position in our preview today. And then as new stars are emerging already as early as next week at all the positions, we'll be highlighting them every week on the podcast. So please be a regular. We're also going to give you some big games to watch next week, starting on the 16th and through week one of the season. So if you look at these rankings, you will see Mountain View at the top. They are the defending champs, and they were a senior heavy team last year. So the coaches ranked them number one, but they're replacing almost their entire roster. They did have one of the state's top JV teams. So it'll be interesting to see them reload. And I think very loaded up is Green Mountain at number 2 and the Classical Academy at number 3. They played a one-possession game in the Final Four last year that the Classical Academy came out on top. And I know Green Mountain will be hungry. We are going to watch that game. I'll be there at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Green Mountain versus the Classical Academy in a Final Four rematch up in Jeffco. At 4, we've got Pomona. We've got Vista Ridge at 5, Mullen at 6, and the other Final Four team was George Washington. They played against Mountain View and gave them a good game. They had I believe that was a close game. That was only a one-possession game. So we'll look for George Washington. Highlands Ranch is a program on the rise with a stud new quarterback we'll talk about. Ponderosa is a program on the rise, and we've got Dakota Ridge out of Jeffco. So let's talk about the quarterback position and kind of where we're at as far as who's coming back and who's looking to replace or step into these roles. Mountain View had a high-level quarterback in Mason Premer. Premer was one of the top quarterbacks in 4A last year. Kira Knowles is ready to step in this program. Like I said, very senior heavy last year, but they were loaded as far as girls who are hungry. And from what I saw at the Chassa Media Day, I think Kira Knowles is ready to lead this new group. Green Mountain, the Rams have a very athletic quarterback coming in, and her name is Savannah. Give me a quick second on that. Savannah Plumley. So the Rams graduated 2 awesome quarterbacks, actually. One I used to coach in basketball, Avery Friedman's going to Regis for lacrosse. It just shows how many awesome multi-sport athletes we have in this sport. But they've got Savannah Plumley coming in. She's likely to start for the state contending Rams. I've seen them play this summer, and they were loaded. She's making all the right reads. Does not look like a freshman. I think she has the tools, the speed, and a great arm. So watch for the Rams to have a big season. We've got the Classical Academy. They are bringing back Kelsey Peterson. She was a big-time passer for the Titans. She did it all with her arm, throwing for almost 3,700 yards last year, throwing 53 touchdowns. So she wasn't a runner, but passed for 3,700 yards through 53 touchdowns as she led her team all the way to the championship game. And she is only now a junior. And we've got Pomona. So Jay Cordova, I am a huge fan of this kid. Super shifty, threw for 1,000 yards, ran for 500 against the loaded schedule. They played almost every top 5A school last year. We played a close game with them, but I've been a big fan of her since the pilot year when they beat us in a jamboree 2 years ago. And in the coming weeks, we're going to talk about the college offers that Cordova has and a ton of the other studs throughout the state when we discuss some of just how much the game is exploding at the college level, especially the NAIA level right now. So Vista Ridge, they kind of bucked the trend as far as the passing game, because in a 12-5 season last year, Vista Ridge rushed for 1,800 yards and passed for only 700. So kind of the opposite of what a lot of the teams were doing. So I'm excited to watch them. They did graduate their leading passer. So we'll find out this week kind of who won that starting spot. Mullen brings back Steffi Thomas. She threw for 1,700 yards, but ran for another 700. She's a senior now, and also with Mullen's staff or with Mullen's depth chart, look for Ava Lively to work her way up through the ranks in the coming years. At 7, we've got George Washington. Cadence Thomas. She led her team to the Final Four, a couple of close wins, one possession games to get all the way into the semis. Uh, she was talented. She was only a sophomore last year, so she's got 2 more years. She racked up 1,800 yards passing and more than 400 with her feet. So look for George Washington to really keep their momentum. Highlands Ranch has a stud freshman coming in Alexa Hart. I saw this team play this summer, and they've got a lot of good things going for them. Look for them. It's good that the coaches recognize them and put them in the top 10 because I think Highlands Ranch is a program on the rise. And another program on the rise is Ponderosa. So Mackenzie King, she had over 600 all-purpose yards, so they're a little bit more balanced, but she was only a sophomore. And I know there's been some very athletic additions to the team for the Mustangs. So the other schools that received votes, we had Bear Creek, Coronado, Denver West, Elizabeth, Evergreen, and Littleton brings back a top quarterback in Ava Palmer. She was a 1,700-yard thrower as just a freshman last year. And we've got Thornton with Kiana Thomas coming back. I'm sorry, Thompson coming back, and she had a big year. She's now a junior, but she really came on strong at the end of the season. She ended up throwing for over 1,500 yards, but most of that was in her last 4 or 5 games when she really got clicking. So fun stuff there for 4A, and we've got big games coming up next week. Let's take a look at the schedule. Already on Saturday morning, check out Vista Ridge and George Washington. And we've got the big TCA Green Mountain matchup at 2 o'clock. Final Four rematch right away on day 1 of the season. We have on Monday, Evergreen, Ponderosa, Highlands Ranch, and Pomona. Tuesday, Chatfield and Dakota Ridge. Quite a few 5A, 4A matchups next week. Denver South was loaded last year. I didn't talk about them on the 5A preview because the coaches didn't give them any love as far as the voting, but Denver South is going to be stacked this year. They play Mullen on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. That'll be a good one. Air Academy and Highlands Ranch. I'll be scouting that game because we play Air Academy on Thursday. Also on Thursday, Vista Ridge and Smoky Hill. Legend travels south to Air Academy. Columbine at Green Mountain is going to be a huge one. My goodness, Columbine has a bunch of awesome passers. Green Mountain, stud freshmen, but other kids who can throw the ball. And I can't wait to watch or get the results as we're heading back from Air Academy on that game. We've got Friday night is highlighted by A. West and Mullen. That is going to be another fun one. And we end the week with Mountain View at Vista Ridge Saturday morning. Vista Ridge in a tournament setting there also plays Douglas County. Douglas County is going to be really good this year. And Littleton at Arapahoe, they don't have the time listed for that one, but that'll be a fun one because Arapahoe's got such a great quarterback in just her second year. So what an awesome week ahead. Coaches, watch for an email from myself or Jerry Howard. Please participate. I would love to get a ton of submissions on a Google form that we'll send you. If you don't get it, just reach out to me at darrenpitzner@gmail.com. But the more you participate, the more shout outs we can do. Let us know who are really strong risers in your programs at all positions and what types of stat stuffing shout outs that we can mention on all the teams, not just the ranked teams that we mentioned today. So follow us, check out the upcoming check out the upcoming recap next week for both 4A and for 5A. This is Coach Pitz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.